In chat, I added chill. I added chill to the emotes. Me when the rhythm is the bass and the bass is the treble. Dude. Stupid fucking emote. I just, last week realized that, it's all you gotta say. Right? Someone comes into chat with some weird shit. They're on some crazy shit. They're on something odd. And they want to say some weird shit to me. Why'd you do this? Why'd you do that? I could just be like, I'm just a chill guy. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like a force field. You go, no, it's a force field for chatters. For the weird ones. You guys can use it too. Someone comes in and they're like, and they're being weird in chat. You guys can just be like, chill. Sort of like Giga Paper, but it's like more positive, right? You can kind of sort of use it in the same scenarios. It's more hopeful. Yeah. It's the smile. It's the smile. Ooh, him with a paper would be good. I feel like the chill is step one, right? And then if like the person doesn't listen, then we go to paper and we're like, all right, buddy, you've been warned. Right? You could use finger. You could do finger if you're on like a haterade that day. It's just whatever energy you're on, okay? Not me, you. Right? Yeah, there you go. What Bite said, yeah. Exactly. Use Giga Paper and other chats when chatter's being weird. you know, when I looked at my Twitch stats for last year, the recap for last year as a streamer, you get one as a viewer and then you get one as a streamer. It was telling me which of my emotes were used most, and it separated them by in channel and outside of channel. Outside of the channel, most used was Giga B. I think, partially because it's a raid message kind of thing. But my nodders and my paper emote were also up there. Those were the top three. And I was like, wow, people really are using paper in other chats, huh? Use Giga Evil a lot. Oh yeah, I use it a lot on Discord. On Discord especially. I know I still watch a lot of Twitch. I just comment and chat a lot less. I used to chat so much. I just feel like over time I feel like it's sort of unavoidable that if I'm typing in other chats, like people are gonna just start talking to me. Or somehow trying to make it about me in a way. Like not a lot of people, but just some chatters. And when a couple of them do it, it's already uncomfortable, so I just don't. I just don't. Hi Gore. Thank you for the fresh sub. I don't want to interact with the plebeians. Yeah, no, it just sucks so bad when you go into someone's chat and you're like, hey, what's going on? Is this game good? Like, I'm trying to talk to the streamer, and a bunch of chatters are trying to talk to me. Or be like, you missed Giga's question if they don't see it. And I'm like, all right, it's okay. It's okay. Like, the world's not gonna end, dude. Like, you know what I mean? It's just... No one's usually doing anything, like, really bad, you know? It's just a lot. And I feel bad being responsible for, like, any derailing of anything. I don't know. I feel like it's being respectful to just stay quiet. So I just don't type as much. I still lurk. But in smaller chats especially, I even put on anonymous chat so that way I don't even show up in the viewer list. Cause it's mostly smaller chats that it happens, but people snipe me out. I'll be lurking, and people will be like, I wonder if she sees this, and they'll just like type my name to try and get it to highlight or something, and I'm like, oh, come on. like I'm being quiet and I'm just sitting here watching my friend, you know? That is weird. But it happens a lot. It's happened more over time, so I just don't. I just DM people. I feel like at this point, I'd rather people just have no clue who I am and I'm not friends with if it's not, like, streamed. So they don't have anything to read into. You know what I mean? Oh. It's kind of how it is at this point. And at the same time, it's kind of funny when, I interact with someone publicly and they're like, you're friends? What's going on? Or something, you know? And I'm just like, I've known this person for years. You know? It's a fun thing at that point. Your Twitch's #1 hater until they take away viewer lists from everyone but mods. I fully agree, Texas. I fully agree. I do think they should take that away. I think the issue is anyone could scrape the chat for that info. And because it's IRC, there may still be a way to expose that no matter what. I actually don't know about the viewer thing. How to grab that by IRC, but, you know, it being IRC is, you can just grab almost any info from it, so. I think the worst thing was when 7TV added you being able to... GraphQL, right. I don't know, I haven't looked into it that deeply. The worst is people scraping mod actions and then it making it so that, like, by default, it's one thing if you're scraping it yourself just to see it, but when, like, 7TV, something that's widely used, just, like, it by default lets everyone see every moderated thing, I'm like, why did we turn this on? Because most people don't actually want that. They wouldn't have enabled it if they had to go into it.
You're gonna have to come up with an unrecognizable name. I vote for Giga Corral. No one will ever know.
We're not going to Golden Corral. We're not doing it. We're not doing it. But anyway, yeah, I don't like that they added you can see all mod actions. Because then when you're getting rid of something because you're trying to have chatters not see it, you're trying to protect them from it, they see it anyway. And that's stupid. Okay, that's stupid. I don't like it. I don't like it. You don't like his username? His username used to be different, but he changed it. And I didn't have to ask who he was when he changed his username, because he always comes in and does that sound and mentions Golden Corral. So, like, I didn't have to be like, who's this? Did you change your username? Because he did the thing. And I was like, oh, here you go. Guys have been here over a year. Yeah, but they might not have known that you changed your name. They might not have known. Good that they removed the follower list from the GUI to be public for everyone. Oh, I hate it. I hate the follower list camping too. That was something that happened. So back in the day when I was a smaller streamer here, I could just be on screen for this. Sorry. I like forgot to hit the button. I'm just looking at chat. Back in the day when I was a smaller streamer, something that people would do, this is when I had my DMs open, my Twitter DMs and stuff, so I didn't care at the time. People would watch and camp our follower and following lists. Okay? They would watch who we were following and who was following us and whatever. And people would just message us about shit all the time. All the time. Someone would unfollow someone or follow someone and people would just bring it up. And it was weird because it didn't even seem like they were trying to do anything malicious most of the time. Like, sometimes someone would be like, oh, this person unfollowed you, what the fuck's going on? You know, like, they'd be, like, poking into shit, like, weirdly. But, there were a lot of times where people were just, like, commenting on it. Yeah, just being nosy. They were just like, hey, what happened? I noticed this person isn't following you. And I'm like, what? I don't know. I'm not in their brain. I was not sitting next to them when they clicked the button. Like, I don't know. And I wouldn't answer it. I would just be like, huh. And I just throw that one away, you know? Like, but it was a lot of that. It was a lot of that. It was weirdly obsessive. And they weren't quite like I said, they didn't seem like they were trying to start something over it. They were just very invested and asking questions that, like, no one should care about, you know? So I was like, what is going on? And that was honestly the biggest driving factor in me closing off, like, any DMs or any ways for people to, like, personally reach me, was not because people were being haters or anything. I really haven't dealt with that much of that. It was just people, like, commenting on everything. And, like, asking for answers to all these things that I just don't know or care about. I was like, what is going on? Gup shit, oh, you following me anymore. Yeah. So I just kind of, like, clicked all of that off. Because it's not even, like, super bad, super negative stuff, right? It's just, like, overwhelming amounts of things that you're like, why? Right? Why care? And so I was just like, okay, well, there's no point in having these open if that's going to be, like, 90% of what's going on. On the bright side, they value your opinion. It's not even opinion. It's not valuing opinion. It's just being overinvested, I feel. Like, I don't see it that way, personally. Maybe with certain questions, but a lot of the ones that I was getting were totally unrelated. Listen to that. Cut crack. But yeah. Still happens, especially now with VShojo auditions. Oh yeah. I think I closed my DMs around the time that so I was friends with Zen for a bit, and then I didn't make that, like, publicly known, you know what I mean? Like, I specifically, like, did not, I was like, let's just be friends normally behind the scenes, because I don't want to be that guy that's like, oh, look, here's my friend, oh, they're so cool, you know? Ooh. I just you know, I didn't want that. And I've always had friends that are larger streamers than I was, and I know that a lot of them can feel that way, even if someone's not trying to do that, you know? Like, when your friend who's a smaller streamer always asks you to collab and does that a lot more, and then they hang out with you off stream, you know, it looks a certain way, whether they intend that or not. So I didn't want to be that guy at all, you know? And I was like, hey, we'll just hang out. And I would, like, there were a couple times she would bring me into her party in, like, Apex on stream and stuff, but I wouldn't join voice. I would just, like, I just joined and played, and it was silent, you know? I barely even typed or anything like that. And I didn't want that to happen. But, you know, there's a point where also you can't stop it. Like, people are going to see that you're friends, and at some point you have to decide, like, am I going to just sit here and pretend it's not, or just, like, whatever. Whatever, you know? Because there's a difference with being friends with someone and just playing games with them a lot, and then making, like, all of your streams about being friends with them and about your friendship with them or their group of people or whatever. You know what I mean? There's big difference. You know? So for me, I just was like, it's whatever. I'm just playing games with a friend. Who cares? Because then the moment the collab would end, I'd be like, all right, let's continue Bug Fables. You know? Like, I was just, all right, back to it. So, you know, and after a certain point, I was like, I can't bother with this anymore. But I did close DMs because when people started, like, noticing a little, I started getting all these people messaging me suddenly wanting collabs that had never really asked before. And I was like, okay, I see what's happening here. You know, I just.
Hello, GEEGA.
No,
I recently
you know?
found your content and wanted to pop in and compliment the quality of your character.
Oh, thank you.
You seem exceptionally down to earth and mature.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate that. Appreciate that. Appreciate the bits as well. Yeah, not everyone wants unwanted attention just because you're friends with the bigger streamer. Yeah. Yeah, and it was like, at one point, it was like, okay, well, do I just keep rejecting my friends' invites to play games with them all the time just to not look like that guy? Or do I just say, fuck it, who cares? You know? So at some point I said, fuck it, who cares? But for months and months, I was just like, you know? I'm just gonna sit here and pretend we're not friends publicly so people don't get weird ideas. But I just realized it was so futile. It was so futile. Because at that point, I wasn't just friends with Zen. I was friends with, like, other people in this group as well. You know? So I was like, what's the point? What's the point? You know? I also made a really big effort. Like, people would, before I joined the group, they would make a big effort to assume that I was going to join all the time or speculate, or even if there was nothing happening, there was no like active teaser of anything, people would just come into chat and ask me constantly. And I, for the longest time, was genuinely not considering it at all, you know, like not up, basically up until I joined, like right before I joined, when I first started talking to them about it. You know, I changed my mind after they like pitched to me, here's why you should join. But like before that, I wasn't considering it at all. So I was getting like really annoyed by, I wouldn't say bothered by, like not deeply bothered, you know, just annoyed by all the people asking. And I was like, this is fucking shut up. You know? So I wouldn't put the name in my title. I wouldn't put, you know, like nothing. I would even avoid adding their names to my title if I was collabing with them. Stuff like that. You don't want to decide about, yeah. It was annoying. And then at some point, like, you know, they came to me and asked me, like, pitched to me, me joining. And I was like, why? And and they gave me a whole presentation about why. And I was like, all right, you know, I see it. I get it. But yeah, up until that time, I was just like, I was never thinking of it. You know? After some time, you've grown tired of pretending not to Zen. Back then, yeah. Yeah. Back then. Before I joined and before we were, like, known friends. I think I had to give up at some point, too, when she VIP'd me in her chat. Or did she mod me? No, she VIP'd me first and then modded me. I was like, I now every time I type, it's gonna be seen. So, like, what can I do? You know? Yeah, caught. But I didn't mind that much. It was better that I got dragged out than just sit there and continue to, like, pretend. Oh, I barely know her, guys. You know? Someone asked if Booby will join VShojo Mouse to poll yesterday, and then choice one that was only if it's GEEGA. me voicing Booby. Oh, could you imagine? Zen mod. Rico, you should just quit. You should just quit, like, being a Zen mod. I'm telling you, it's not worth it. You're just gonna sit there and every day someone's gonna come in and be like, did they get bigger? And you're like not gonna be allowed to delete it. And you're gonna like lose a 1% of your sanity every time. It's just like, you know, just quit. Just quit. I can't look at her chat sometimes. I'm like, dude, because the way I moderate mine is so much different than hers, right? Like Zen allows so much shit and I don't, so like I have to like not look. You know, I have to just not look, because it's not that I like see it and get angry and then click. It's more like I do it automatically, because in my own chat I would just like hit delete, or you know, whatever. So I have to like actively try not to press certain buttons, you know. So I can't, like, I have to not look, otherwise I'll just, it's kind of like my hands just move to press a button, you know? I don't know. Did they get bigger chatters really out there with jobs and stuff? I know. It's not their fault. It's everyone's fault. Zen's doing a fucking workout stream and, like, you know, in her new outfit and everything. And it's like, oh guys, check out these squats. So it's, yeah, it's just difference. It's just a difference. But you know, when I'm there, like if I don't put myself in that headspace, if I don't code switch, I'll just like automatically start clicking delete on shit, and then I'm like, wait, this isn't my chat. Like I got, like, you know what I mean? Like I have to actively think about it. It's not a problem. People can do different things, right? It's like that's just how I moderate my chat. But it's so different to the point where I have to think so actively about it. So it's easier if I just don't look at the chat. I just don't look. You know, like there are mods there that do that. I don't need to do it. You know what I mean? All your outfit clips. It's not just her. It's everyone. I'm literally her and mentally ill, so it's nothing I can't handle. Right. Right. Okay. Okay. You only read Euphemy's comments and sends chat. It's so cozy. Dude, I get you. I get you. There are always a couple of users in every chat where I'm like, that person gets it. Like we would get along, you know? And I always like I just read their comments. I agree. I agree. And sometimes they're ones that are like here and in those other chats. Because there's some people who code switch, right? They'll be in my chat and then they'll go to another chat where they're allowed to say wildly different stuff, and they will. Right? They will. And then there are others that do not at all. You know? They just act the same here as they do everywhere else. So, you know. You are seen. I'll let you know. You are seen. That's not a problem. As long as you don't do shit here, you know what I mean? Mic chat versus VTuber chat overlap. Well, the thing is, like, you can act the way you do in Mike's chat in this chat. Because it's just crude humor, you know, like, it's totally fine. So a lot of Mike chatters have sort of settled in here and been like, you know, I can make the most disgusting poop jokes here and it's okay. And I'm like, yeah, you can. You can. We're really disgusting. And that's all right. I'd say his chat obviously, like, says it out loud more than this one. But this chat doesn't, like, get mad if you do it. Right? It's not just haha poop. It's, like, really bad. Really bad shit jokes. It's so funny. It's so funny. Just hold higher standards everywhere. I mean, just do what you want, dude. Do what you want, dog. I mean, don't we share clown pubes with Mike too? I mean, dude, that's exactly what happened, right? He like came from that chat to here. Spelled winners with wash. No, dude. my team isn't finished. I ended up having to do something all day yesterday, and yesterday was gonna be my day that I was gonna get my team figured out and fixed up. And I didn't get to do that. So I might have a little time before the tourney today to fix up some things, but I don't even have my Samurott yet, dude. My team's gonna be so cursed. It's gonna be so bad. Let me see, what time is it? They said 2 p.m. tomorrow. That's PT, so 5 to, so in 2 hours, So we'll be able to do some shit, you know, for sure, but I won't get perfect IVs and UEs and stuff on every Pokemon, you know, that's okay. That's all right. There's some people that are going to be ultra sweat over there and some that are not. So we'll be all right. We'll be all right. I don't even know if we have all the TMs I want, so the moves might be a little cooked. I don't think I have the money for stuff, so I'm just going to see if Siren's on and then beg her for money. And it's going to be great. It's gonna be wonderful. You see clown peeves in the Vine Sauce chats? Yeah. Everyone has sort of like a sphere that they're in, and then they have some tangential streamers. So like a lot of people that are in Vinny and Mike's chats have watched some VTubers, but there aren't too many VTuber chats that they've settled into and are like always there. Whereas like Clown Peeps shows up here like pretty damn often, you know? I've quite a few chatters here that are like always in Mike's chat, right? And they'll have seen other VTubers, but you know, certain chats will have fewer of them actually stick. It just depends on if you're if your humor, the way you talk, or the things you know about, or your everything matches up. But we have similar tastes, so. I was actually talking to Mike the other day. We were talking about a lot of stuff related to Sonic. Okay? A lot of stuff related to Sonic. And it was a disgusting conversation, but it was, you know, a conversation we could both hold because we both have common interests, right? And that's what it's all about. That's just what it's all about. Right? You follow Vinny for like 6 years and you've never subbed? You don't have to. You do that if you want to. And like, it's a choice. It's whatever. You're not beholden to anything. It's nice to feel like, okay, I've gotten a lot of free entertainment out of this person. It would be, you know, good to purchase it once or something, but it's whatever. It's whatever. That's why you have the option of just watching with ads on forever if you wanted. Coffee, latte, or tea on the desk? Tea. I don't like coffee. I don't like coffee at all, actually. I'm a big coffee hater. But I love the smell of coffee beans. Not coffee made, you know, the drink, but the smell of coffee beans I really like. So I like it as a flavoring mildly in some desserts and stuff, but I'm also not a sweet eater, so.
What kind of tea do you have there, GEEGA? Also,
I
happy
like
Monday.
all kinds of tea, but I usually just drink black tea. Black or red tea. But I like all kinds of tea, to be honest. Vinny actively encourages people to not sub to him. That's an old guard thing of Twitch and content creators in general. There was this mentality that a lot of them had for a long time that was, I'm not really working. I'm not really doing anything extraordinary, so don't give me your money. They would just want to make just enough to live. And a lot of the time they still wouldn't make quite enough. They'd be like living in a parent's basement or like out in the middle of nowhere in a super cheap apartment, right? And they'd be like, just give me, you know, whatever you feel like, but you please don't, right? And I think people shouldn't do that. I think that is definitely an attitude that people always had. And I think it came from a few streamers just got up on a soapbox and said that. And then the rest felt like they had to do it or they were assholes for not doing it. Right? So they were like, well, since the other one makes you an asshole, that means the morally good one is to say, don't give me money. Right? Like, I think like they truly believed it. They weren't just doing it so they don't seem like an asshole. It was more like they were offered two options and one looked bad. Right? And I think a lot of older content creators just always kind of did that. And yeah, false modesty. The thing is, it's not false like they're being fake. It's more like they've tricked themselves into thinking that that's true. Right? That's how I see it. I think they're being very genuine still. But right, you have to value your time and effort, exactly. And I find a lot of people in creative spaces, not just streaming, are like that. Like they don't value their time properly. But I just see it plain and simple. No one's holding a gun to anyone's head. No one's saying you have to subscribe. If someone chooses to do it, they choose to do it. That is on them. If someone wants to give you $10,000, they've chosen to do that. That is their choice. And you should never feel bad about accepting it. They had a chance to say, do I want to do this? Yes or no. And they chose yes. Beyond that, that is it, right? Like it's never your problem, your fault, nothing. That's how I feel, you know? And, I mean, what do people do all day? They work, and then after work, they seek entertainment. Plain and simple. If you are providing the entertainment part, you're providing a service. That's a job. It's not the Olympics, you know, we're not figuring out whose job is harder. We're not figuring out who does it better, whatever. If someone simply likes watching someone and puts a lot of time into it, okay, there you go, right? So I never subscribed to that idea of like, oh, don't give me money because I don't deserve it. Like the way a lot of streamers would say that. I'm like, why? Like you shouldn't beg people for it. You shouldn't make them feel bad if they don't sub. That's weird and scummy. But if they just want to do it, it's fine. Like don't reject it, you know? Because then I see it as you're rejecting someone trying to support you, and I feel bad doing that. Right? Personally. Hi, Peter. I guilt trip the fuck out of my community. Let's go, Peter. Yeah, I was saying I hate that old guard like Twitch thing where they're like, don't sub to me, and they try to
I am
discourage
giving
it.
you these bits with my own free will, GEEGA nodders.
Exactly, and I'll take them. I'll take them. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. It's only $5. If you have time to watch me, you have $5. What was that girl's name? If you have time to watch, you have time to make $5. Crazy. What a speech, dude. What a what a moment in Twitch history. Oh my god. Surely that was rage bait. Her entire existence is that, yeah. Literally everything she does is that. She literally sits there and like findoms on stream. That's it. She just sits there and like says crazy shit and then like complains when she doesn't make enough. And it's to bait dudes who enjoy that into paying. That's literally the point. So when that clip kind of escaped out and people were like, she's off her rocker, I was like, you're all wrong about this. She does this because people are into that and then they sub. Right? Like, she's not tricking them. They want this experience and they're aware that she's just doing it just to do it. And that's what they're signing up for. Like, this is a consensual experience here, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. People got really like, I don't think they knew. I think that's not the first thing their brains went to, so they didn't realize. Yeah, it was a good advertisement. It was. Yeah, it was the Call of Duty girl. You know, bury me. Oh, so good. So good. Yeah, Bobby said, I think, and I may be wrong here, that at the time a lot of the old guard were up and coming on Twitch, the viewer base skewed a bit younger and with potentially less disposable income, which may have also played into things if so. Oh, for sure. There's a lot of reason as to why it started off that way, right? And that is definitely a factor. But I think people didn't grow out of that, right? And I think they should have grown out of that pretty quickly, because yes, the viewer base was younger, like quote unquote younger, but it wasn't like 14-year-olds, it was 18-year-olds, it was people in college, right? They didn't have a lot of disposable income, but they were adults. So after a couple years of streaming existing, a lot of the viewer base was in jobs. And then new viewers were maybe also college aged, you know, and that's all right for them to maybe be like, just do it if you can. But a lot of chatters were still, you know, in normal jobs and everything. Like, they weren't rich or whatever, but, you know, that shift didn't take too long to occur, but I feel like the mentality took way longer to shift with the aging demographic, if that makes sense. I don't know. And it's really hard, though, to just break out of a mindset like that. When things are a certain way for so long, it's really hard to pivot your own mindset. No, I mean, couldn't afford like 10 subscriptions in high school. Yeah. I couldn't afford anything, dude. I couldn't afford anything. Do you have any lukewarm takes for the week? I always have lukewarm takes. Because I think most of my hot takes aren't worth saying. Or people will get mad or something. You don't have a mortgage yet? You're a bit young? It's rough. It's rough. I waited for so long thinking it wasn't going to be the right time. Maybe now would be the right time to dump money into this. Maybe now's the right time to buy. There's just like no right time. If you find something you like and you can afford it, and that's the right time. Straight out. The market's stupid. Dumb. Poo-poo. I think I would have bought earlier if I was still in my old job. And I didn't have all my health shit like eat my money, but but even then it still didn't feel like the right time. I was still just kind of holding out. Oh, you prune today? Cancel like 49. I do that occasionally, but I go and prune because for me, I just can't be holding that many subs when I can't watch all those people that often. I just can't do it. And there's some friends that I'll stay subbed to, but a lot of the time other chatters will gift me a sub to somebody, and I should just let that happen. At some point I was like, I used to always re-up my own subs for 6 months so no one could snipe it. And then I was like, I'm doing the thing again where I'm like, no, don't give me money. Right? Like if that person didn't gift me that sub to that friend, they would probably just gift me a sub on my channel. Right? So I'm like, I should just leave it, and if they snipe it, they snipe it. Whatever. Whatever. You know. If there's someone that I watch a lot, then I'll usually sub to them myself though. But if it's one that I don't watch often, like eh. Eh. Whatever. Turbo my goat. Everyone should just get Turbo. Everyone should. Yeah. Yeah, it was $5. Dude, subscriptions to anything, not just Twitch channels, they build up so fast. And you go back at some point and you realize how many things you're subscribed to, and oh, it's so bad. It's so bad. Turbo saves people, dude. It's the best. You got Turbo because of GTA. A lot of people said they got Turbo around that time. Yeah, they were like, hey, I canceled all my other subs. I'm just subbed to you now, and I have Turbo. That's what a lot of people said, because they started watching so many POVs, and they suddenly had a need to actually take ads off of more channels. So that's what a lot of people in the chat said, for sure. Hi, Octo. How are you? How are you? So many multiple streamers starts to add up per month. Yeah, and I always tell people, if you're gonna be subbed to people, do the 6 months ahead of time thing. Just do it. If you're not gonna get Turbo, you're gonna watch a couple of people and you want to be subbed to them, just sub 6 months in advance, okay? Just do it. Because you say, oh, I'll do month to month, and I'll pay the full price, and I'll decide in a couple months if I want to stay subbed or not. Well, a newsflash, 3-4 months of that sub is the same cost as the 6 months ahead of time, approximately. Just do it. Like, just fucking do it, you know? So, and the discount that you get isn't on the streamer. I've seen some people say that. They're like, but I don't want the streamer to get less. That's not the case. It is the same amount of money that we get, and Twitch's cut is lowered, okay? Twitch's cut is lowered. So you're not in any way giving the streamer less support by doing that. So, just saying. You know. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. Yeah, Twitch, streaming service, Patreons, everything else. That's just a subscription for no reason these days, and all of a sudden you're like, where'd those hundreds of dollars go? Yeah, like, I understand a subscription to something like this, right? Because this is constant, ongoing content. I'm doing new things. I'm continuing things all the time. There's no, like, pay once and watch forever option that makes sense here. Because you pay once, but I'm still working, quote unquote, right? That's, like, the idea. There are other things that people subscribe to where I'm like, what's the ongoing work here? Why is this a subscription, not a single time payment? I don't get a lot of the subscriptions nowadays. I don't understand it. Adobe is one of those ones I feel both ways about. It depends on what service of theirs you're using. But there are certain things that they only get updated once a year. So you should, if you want to buy the new version, pay once a year. Okay? Pay once a year. That's just how it should be. You don't use your Crunchyroll account, but you haven't canceled it because your friends use it more than you. Oh, no. They realize the sub model tends to make more money. I mean, yes, we all know that, of course. That's just how it is, right? But you know, it's getting crazy. It's getting crazy. Oh man. You know what Mike was saying to me? His streaming backpack that he's got, his IRL streaming backpack, is trying to hike the price. And it's not of the backpack itself. It's because the service that they offer for the different modems and like how many servers you're streaming to and what it does to keep that service clear and working. Yeah, the modem services. Those have gotten more expensive on their end. So every single like backpack company, like every single one has issues with this, where all of the companies that do like the hosting and everything that they're sending the streams to then send it to your stream are getting more expensive. So then those companies have to charge more for their service if you want to use their backpack. And it's becoming this like chain of events. Yeah, they're trying to do like a 1K a month, which the thing is, if you're an IRL streamer and you do backpack streams all the time, I think that actually makes sense. I think that does make sense, right? But because that's your content and you're paying to be able to do your content. Okay. People pay for models and stuff. You know, it actually makes sense. But if you're only going to use it a couple times, oh, that's so rough. Then I'd rather like a pay-as-you-go thing or something, but it's tough. It might not work like that on their end. So, I don't know. Bandwidth is expensive as fuck. It is. It's crazy expensive. So it's becoming harder and harder for streamers. 1K a month seems hella steep. It's very steep. It was about half, maybe less than half of that before this. It's steep. I mean, okay, streamers and what they make varies wildly. Like wildly. A rule of thumb is on the low end. On the low end, a streamer typically has as many, I'd say 75% as many subs as their average viewership. That's the low end. So usually, let's say someone has 100 viewers average all the time. At the lowest end, you can assume they probably have 75 active subs. And then it goes up a lot from there. But that's just like the lowest line that most people would be at, around there, right? So let's say you're streaming to 1,000 people. And you're one of those streamers who doesn't have a community that subs very much. You're on the low end of things. Okay? That would mean you probably got 750 subs. Well, let's say they're all of $5, and then that's times 0.7. You're making about $2,600 a month from that. And then the backpack wants you to pay 1K. The backpack wants you to pay 1K to be able to do that content. So if you're on the low end, you're 1,000 viewer Andy, like, which is, you know, really good. Anything above a couple hundred, in my opinion, is really good. You know, that 2,600, if you didn't pay the backpack fee, is like pretty livable. Pre-tax too. Yeah, pre-tax. Let's not kid ourselves that, you know, we get taxed twice, but still, I feel like 75% sub rate is really high, honestly. No, it's not. It's actually pretty accurate. It depends on what you do. I say the low end, but I'm saying the low end, like the average low. There are definitely people that have less than that. It depends. If you're like, if you got 200 viewers and you're a league streamer, you probably don't have that many subs, like, at all, right? That community or people that are just watching you to watch some high octane league gameplay, they're not really subbing. But if you're a variety streamer, you tend to have more subs than your average viewership. And then it just depends on the person and what kind of community they have. Are they the type that acts a certain way that gets people subbing a lot or not? You know, there's such a wide range. But yeah, it's a whole thing. I know people that have, like, you know, way smaller communities than I do, but they'll make more subscription money than I do because the things that they do get people subbing. You know what I mean? And it's stuff that I don't do. It's shit I don't do, and I'm like, yeah, I'm not doing that, but that's just how it goes. Because League players are broke from the $500 skin. I know. It's crazy. That's just how it is, man. So if they want to charge 1K for you for a month of being allowed to, not whether you use it or not, but just being allowed to use the IRL backpack, you gotta be having thousands of viewers to make that work, and then you have to have a community that specifically also will sub to you, right? You might just have a culture of, like, your community not subbing that much, and that's just the community you've got, you know? It's tough, man. So it's making, I think about that and I'm like, who's gonna use these backpacks if that's how much it costs? Like, no small streamer's gonna use them anymore. You know? And that's the thing, is IRL content's really cool. It's a huge thing in on Twitch in general, right? All the people that are traveling, all that stuff. But if it becomes that expensive, literally who's going to use them? It's only going to be huge streamers. And then, you know, in my opinion, that's a weird, like, rich get richer thing, right? Where, like, the people who make a bunch are able to afford the cool backpack and do those kinds of streams, and the other people can't even afford to do that content. You know, so you can't even build on it. I don't know. It just sucks. But again, it's not the, like, backpack company's faults that much as it's the companies before it that host those servers and that they're doing their modem services through. That cost is high for that company, so they have to make the cost of everything on the endpoint more expensive. Otherwise, those companies don't make any money either, which is like, you know, why even do business? So I don't know. It's tough, man. It's tough. It's rough. But it's like that. It's like that in every field, like you said. Yeah. Yeah. Said you could potentially see someone who does their own networking for sponsorships really well getting away with it without the sub count, but yeah. Yeah. I mean, you can have a community that doesn't sub to you at all, but they watch. Therefore, you're able to play ads. Here's the thing. If they don't sub and you're serving more ads to more people, ad revenue, you know? But then on top of that, there are just so many other ways you can monetize, right? So if you have a low sub count, it doesn't mean that you have to make no money compared to someone else. You could make more than them off of something else. I know some people who barely stream, but their brand is really strong, so they just sell a fuck ton of merch. There are people who straight up don't stream. They stream once a year, yet they still make a fuck ton by selling merch because people enjoy their character as a brand, and they just like buying their stuff because they're like, yeah, the design's cool. That's valid. That's so valid, you know? So it's whatever, man. It's whatever. Like Tony the Tiger. Yeah, like Tony the Tiger. So true. That's totally the example I was thinking of. Yep. Yep. Are there other ways to make IRL content that don't need these services? Not really. No. No. You can't. You need the backpack. There are people who will stream from a mobile hotspot. Okay, they'll grab a hotspot and do it, but it's really jank and it doesn't work well. And as you're walking around and trying to get shit done, if that signal is, it's not even, right? It dips, it spikes and dips when you're going around doing IRL content. So every time it dips a little bit, your entire stream just stops sometimes, or it's like beyond lagging. It'll start adding delay, yeah, extra crunch, and the quality ends up being so bad that people just like stop watching because it's hard to watch at that point. So, yeah. It's like possible, yes. Possible. But yeah, like Batten said, you end up just like doing videos instead of streaming it live at that point. Because it's not worth the quality dips, you know? Yeah, you do have to pay for the data anyway, exactly. You can have unlimited data and use the fuck out of it. But it's going, the thing is, you're sending one signal from your phone to one place, and that one place receives it, and that's it. Whereas with the backpacks, they're sending out multiple versions of the signal, and they're basically sending that signal to every ISP. So whichever one is most stable is the one that gets played on stream. So that's why you don't really see that many quality drops. It's just a little bit here and there when the signal's really bad across all of them. But that's how the signal stays pretty good, is they're sending out multiple signals. All ISPs, pretty much, not all, but most ISPs in the area are receiving that and sending it through their system, and then it all gets put into one place, and whatever signal is strongest, that's what is viewed on the stream. And it's just constantly bouncing between these different signals in which one it's going to be showing the data from, basically. And that's how those backpacks keep that shit good. And that's why it's so expensive, because you're sending out multiple versions of your stream and accepting it on the other side, and then having a service like constantly change which thing is being viewed, you know? It's a lot of power being used on that. It's a lot of bandwidth, and it's a lot on the receiving end. So that's kind of why it is expensive. So I like, at the baseline, I understand how it got here, how it got expensive to do that, you know? Ron, thank you for the fresh sub. Welcome on in. Yeah, mobile hotspot works well in Korea, but you can't stream Twitch there. Yeah, Korea, when I was there, I mean, they were still upgrading infrastructure, but they basically have 5G over the entire fucking country. It is a smaller country. It has a lot of mountains. There are a lot of places where they can place towers and everything to get this great signal kind of blanketing everything. But it is normal. Everywhere you walk, you just have 5G. It's great. Straight up, it's just wonderful. And I always miss it. I walk around, I take out my phone in the US and I try to do anything and I'm like, fuck, man. I used to be able to open YouTube or whatever the fuck and like a video would just boom, instant load. Ugh. It was so nice. So nice. It's just not like that here. It's just not like it. It ain't the same. How long were you in Korea for? Several times broken up. I think total... I don't know. I don't know. I think it was usually like several months at a time over some summers and things, and then one longer stint at one point. But it was a very long time ago, and it was over the course of like a lot of different years. I don't know total. I'd have to look back. I can't remember. I'm trying to think. I'm trying to like count the months in my head. It was very disjointed because there was a lot of traveling back and forth here and there. I'd have to look. A long time. You spent 2 months. It was great. It's nice. It's nice. I like visiting. I haven't visited in a long while. I think living there was nice, but I don't want to work there. I don't want to work there. If I were just a streamer deciding to live there just because, you know, cheap, easy food, walkable, I would do that maybe, but like I don't want to work there. I don't like the work culture. There are certain industries that are better than others, but for what I was doing, no. No thanks. Do you have a favorite part of Korea? I would like to tell you one place, but it's really specific and I don't want to say where I was. but there's one place outside of Seoul that I really like, another city nearby. I do really like Jeju-do. It's obviously like just a normal ass travel destination. A lot of Koreans will go there for vacations, for honeymoons and things, but there are a lot of really scenic areas, great hiking. The food is so good. The food is incredible. It's just so nice. If you ever wanted like a nice vacation area, I would go there. Like Ujeongbu, really? It's an interesting place to go. I went to a lot of spots. I thought Busan was nice for food. I'm like usually a seafood hater, but you know, obviously when I was there, I had to eat a lot of seafood and I got more used to it. And I liked the specific preparation they did a lot of the time down there. It was nice. You haven't been there since 2012. Yeah, I haven't been there in several years. It's cheaper to go there for surgeries than just having it in the US. Yes, but that's specifically usually plastic surgery that people are talking about. The medical system over there is still pretty good, so any surgery is still fine to do. But you should be careful. There are also a lot of times where someone goes there and they don't speak Korean. They go to an office, a doctor that is really, really, really catered toward travelers. Most of them are fine. Most of them are fine to go to. But some of them, they will do things like a doctor will sit there and talk to you about your procedure, draw things, show you images of what they're going to do. You go and get the procedure done, and then you find out it was a different doctor that did it. It wasn't the one that you met with. They were just there to supervise the plans, but they didn't actually do it. But they made you think the whole time that they were going to do it. Stuff like that does happen sometimes. I'm not going to say that's the most common. Usually it's fine. But you have to really like look up a lot of reviews if you're trying to do that. Okay. I had a friend have that happen. She had a deviated septum. So she wanted to get it. That's you know, the cartilage, the bone between your two nostrils in the middle. A lot of people have deviated septums, meaning one nostril ends up being smaller, right? Because it's just moved to one side. So she wanted to get hers redone because she was having trouble breathing at night straight up if she like leaned on her side. So she was like, I'm just gonna do it there because it's basically like, you know, it's within the realm of plastic surgery. A lot of people get deviated septums corrected just because like they have a bump on their nose that they want corrected, things like that, right? So she went over there and she got it done, and they did well with the procedure, but she found out that the doctor that came in and did it was like not the guy that she met with, and it was just this whole thing. She felt like really uncomfortable with it after she found out, and she was like, I mean, it was done well, but she looked it up and there were a lot of stories of it not being done well sometimes when that happens, and she was like, holy fuck, I lucked out, you know? Very, very concerning. Could have been really bad for her. So, you know, she really like just did not trust it after that. And like thankfully for her, it wasn't cosmetic. It didn't change the way her nose looked at all. It was just the inside that was changed. And that was, you know, at least her appearance didn't change, right? But imagine if she went in for something that was appearance changing, right? Like full on plastic surgery, and then like they just gave her something that she didn't want. You know what I mean? Like that does happen sometimes. So I don't know. It could be a bit rough. It can be rough as hell. No thanks. You said, what is the point of that? Because they want like to have the doctors that are most sought after be the face of things, but it's expensive to have them do every procedure, so they just have them supervise and sign off on what's being done, and then sometimes they like stop in to make sure it's being done right, but they have, you know, someone who's working under them do it. So I don't know, but that can be scary, man. That'd be scary. Frosty, thank you for the prime. Seem to be a lot of paid influencers promoting clinics in Korea too. Oh yeah, absolutely. I don't think that means that it's bad. It's just an industry. I mean, plastic surgery, cosmetic surgery is elective, right? There are types of it that are done in ways that are for someone's improvement of their life, whatever, reconstructive things, etc., etc. But a lot of it is just elective. So because it's just a consumer thing, it's just a product. It's just a service you're paying for, a product or service depending on what you're getting, and that's fine. It's fine. I think for it to just be promoted, paid, marketed like that, whatever, you know. But the other thing is, people, they legitimately, like influencers, legitimately go and get a procedure there, and they're like, I did this here, and then they advertise it. I think there's nothing wrong with them doing that. And even if the clinic like pays them, they're like, look, we're gonna just give you a free nose job, and then in return you promote us. If they go there and they did it and it was well done, it was well done. I don't, you know, like I don't see the issue there. The issue is if they do it well for that influencer and then not for their other clients, then that's shitty. But for the most part, like those clinics are run by certain doctors. It's going to be the same doctors, right? The same team. Maybe not the exact doctor you're thinking of, but the same team. So, I don't know. You were told by your tour guide that instead of saving for college funds, mothers tend to save for plastic surgery funds for their daughters. Yeah. Well, college isn't that expensive there, usually, to start with, so that's not the worst. But, yeah, people do plastic surgery because you get a lot more opportunity afforded to you. And the surgeries aren't that expensive anyway, a lot of them. So it's not too bad. It's not too bad. But it's just everyone over there gets like some form of surgery nowadays. Almost everyone, and it's I don't like it personally. I get it, but I don't like it. I mean, having been there for a long time, and seeing like people around me, seeing their faces change, seeing them go in. There were people that I knew that over the course of a couple years of knowing them, they looked completely different than when I first met them, especially if I met them a little younger. Um, you know, sometimes they look better, sometimes they don't. Sometimes they look better in, actually this is the case with a lot of Korean surgeries in my opinion. A lot of the time they look so much better in pictures, but when you see them in real life, there's something weird about it. Because they're meant to look good when they just go and they sit there and smile at a certain angle, right? And it looks good. But then when they sit there and talk, like you can tell things are just not as they seem. And it's, yeah, it's uncanny. And if it's done really well, it doesn't come off like that. But you know, not everything comes out well like that. Or they keep wanting to do surgeries that look good on someone else. The exact nose that they ask for isn't really right for them, but they want it, etc., etc. I don't know. Yeah, Uncanny Valley. I think one of the worst ones is I really hate when they do jaw surgery and they shave off their jaw. to have a smaller, rounder, or not rounder, but yeah, rounder face rather than like chiseled. They don't want like the lower parts of their jawbone sticking out, giving them a square face. It's seen as a bit masculine, right? So what they'll do is they'll take that part at the back of your jaw below your ear where it's sort of more of a right angle, and they'll shave that down so it's just a smooth slope between like the ear and then down to the tip of the chin. And they'll cut that off. They'll just cut that off. And I just hate that surgery a lot because I feel like it gives a good chance of complications later in life, number one. Number two, you might look okay from the front, but when they turn and they're talking, depending on how it was done and what their original bone structure was like, sometimes it just gives them a double chin, right? Like that skin has nowhere to go now. and behind their natural chin, you just have like this little thing hanging. And I'm like, that now you look older. You just aged yourself. Like it's just, I don't know. And sometimes they'll actually take off some extra skin there if they need to, but now you have a scar and it's, you know what I mean? Like it's always a cascade of all these effects, but I don't know. And I feel like it's another way of homogenizing face shapes yet again. And I know that they don't really care about that over there. Over there, everyone just wants the ideal face, but I don't love it. You have huge surgery, you're getting to fix your teeth and jaw since they're misaligned, and you're concerned about how that's going to change how you're going to look. Yeah, but the thing is, having things be misaligned, you might be living with it now. Once you get used to it later, you're going to realize how much better it is to have that alignment be right, and it's going to save you so many issues down the line. So many issues. Anything that's misaligned, that's supposed to be aligned a certain way, or that's lopsided, right, different on one side, just gets worse as you get older. And it could get to the point where you can't even eat properly, you can't chew properly, etc. You know, so even if it changes the way you look a little bit, you're going to be better off for it. Trust me. Trust me. World would be perfect if we could magically transfer jaw mass. I just feel like a lot of the time when they shave the jaw off, I don't think it makes them look better. I think it makes their mouth look uncanny. I don't know. No thanks. No thanks. Like how braces can reduce cavities in the future. Yeah, stuff like that. Stuff like that. For sure. I don't know. The jaw surgery thing is very like... I don't like it. I'll show you. Let me see. Like, I get what it's doing from the front. But from the side, it's not good. It's not good. Here. Here's someone from the side who actually think their surgery was done well. Okay, this is one of the ones that, like, was done a bit better. This person you could tell they got a few surgeries all at once. So you see how their jaw, like that square edge there, was shaved down? So it looks like it's been moved up closer to the ear, right? So the idea is it just makes a lot of your front facial features more prominent. You can tell this person also got a nose job at the same time. You see how on the left side, their nostrils, percentage-wise, take up... If you take the line from the bottom end of their nostril to the tip of their nose, most of that is nostril, right? And then you look on the right and you see a point was added to the front because the nostril's in the same spot, but there's a lot more tissue in the front. It's not tissue, it's an implant. Same thing with the nose bridge, everything. You know, you can just see a lot of this stuff is all done subtly. Like, their surgeries don't look that bad, but the thing is, when you look on the right, you look just behind their chin. Okay, and you see the bit of skin that's kind of between your neck and your chin. Over there, that spot, when people shave their jaws, a lot of the time that starts to like hang. And that makes you look so much older. Both are nice. I think this person's surgeries were well done. Yeah. Like, it's like pretty subtle. So it's not that bad. And like, yeah, the jaw was shaved, but like, they didn't take that much off. Some people, when they do their surgery, they take so much off that it's like, it's scary. It's really scary. I don't know. As I'm looking at the pictures of it, I don't get why some people get the surgeries they get. Like, they really looked fine before. And whatever they changed really doesn't make them look that much better. Or if it does make them look quote unquote better, it's usually better from one angle and then a little weird from another. I don't know. But when you search for it on Google, you're going to find a lot of people getting corrections that they needed. Like, a lot of people, the stuff that I'm seeing is like, they really needed this because they had like a really, really off-kilter jaw, probably affected their bite, blah, blah, blah. So they'll show pictures of that. And I'm like, yeah, that seemed more necessary for that person, right? It's all fine. But then a lot of the people that I had seen when I was there and out and about, they did not need those surgeries at all. And they got them for just no fucking reason. They just thought it was better for them. I'll show you one. There's this member of Red Velvet, okay, Korean girl group, that like she shaved a lot of her jaw off, okay? She shaved a lot of it off, and I just it looks really uncanny. Let's see if I can find a before and after picture of a similar angle. Because it really, I don't know. I'm not going to say necessarily she looked better before. It's not about better. It's about, like, what she wants. But when you see her from the side, she kind of looks like an alien now. You know? Like, a little bit. And it's a little scary. Hold on. I'm trying to see if I can find one. But they keep... The other thing is they keep showing pictures of her, like... before she was an idol and she like had a lot more weight on her and everything. And I think that's an unfair comparison. Right? There are times where I'm like, I see that with American celebrities a lot when they show plastic surgery before and after. They'll show someone when they're like 16 and then another picture when they're like 26. And your facial fat changes so much. I mean, like we don't need that. You know? They keep doing that too. Keep doing it to fucking Ariana Grande. They keep doing this to Ariana Grande, where they're like, oh, her face before and after. And a lot of it just reads as a woman from like her teen years to her, I think she's maybe around 30 now or close to it. And you lose a lot of baby fat on your face. So your face changes a lot, in women especially, throughout their 20s. And they'll be like, oh, did she get these surgeries? And I'm like, she's not 16. Like, what are we... what are we complaining about here? I don't get it. I don't know. It gets a little crazy. It gets a little crazy. She's 31. Yeah. Sometimes the stuff that they do is like... people are like, ooh, gotcha. And they're like showing these pictures that really don't prove anything. You know? Not at all. Oh, I found one. I was trying to talk about Wendy. For those that were asking. Here's the K-pop idol I was looking for. I was trying to just find one where it's at least a similar angle. Look what she did to her jaw. Now, obviously, the picture on the right, the lighting is very heavy. So the contrast of like where her jaw is looks very different. She didn't even have a very square jaw. She got a chin implant. You can see she has a chin implant, so it's a little pointier in the middle. She lost a bit of weight in her face, so that's a big part of the bone structure too. She got other surgeries too, but like, you see how much her jaw changed? And it's like, she always had a sloping kind of jaw, but instead of it dipping down and going forward, it's just like a straight line from her ear to her chin. You know? And she looks really good from the front, but then when she turns to the side, I'm like, where'd it go? And the thing is, when she turns completely to the side, like a complete right angle, where all of that bone is gone, you just see flesh. It's not like everything's gone, right? You can't like remove someone's neck. She's a singer, you're not removing her vocal cords, right? And it looks a little odd. Nose is different. I mean, everything's been done. If you're an idol under that company, you've probably had almost everything touched. I think those pictures make it definitely unflattering for sure, but like, I don't know. I think she looked fine before. And I think when you look at her from the front, she looks fine now, but the problem is she just didn't need it. She didn't need it all. Oh, my favorite change is... Now, some of this is being baby-faced, okay? Some of this is just her being baby-faced in the before picture, but I think one of the biggest changes is from their most recent girl group. Or not that recent, but, you know, from aespa. They cut Giselle's face off, okay? They cut her face off. Straight up. Okay? Her nose has an implant in it. It actually didn't change that much. It changed somewhat. Her eyes changed a bit. A lot of this is makeup and losing some weight. A lot of this is makeup and losing some weight. But the jaw... The jaw? It's crazy. Absolutely crazy. And her surgeries are really well done, because if you had never seen the before picture, you can just look at her and be like, she probably looked like that. Girl, your melanin. Yeah, they make them all do that. A lot of the time it's edits on the photos too. It's not even that it was like that crazy that they did anything. It's just some staying out of the sun a little bit, putting a little light makeup on, and then the lighting that they put them in and the pictures that they take of them and how they edit them are crazy. It's usually not, I want to say, in idols, it's usually not skin bleaching. People always accuse of that in Korea. It's usually not skin bleaching. Sometimes it is, but I feel like that's a thing they did like 10 years ago, and then people never forgot that. but it's usually not that. It's just staying out of the sun straight up. And like, you know, packing on sunscreen. I think there's nothing wrong with wanting a certain shade of skin if it's within your natural range, right? If you're like, I want to be tan, so I tan more. I want to be paler, so I wear more sunscreen. That's all right. Nowadays, they do that a lot more. They don't really do the full bleaching thing as much. I will say a lot of non-idols will still do it, but in the idol industry, they don't do it as much. But it's more photo edits. It's more... Because you'll see a picture of someone who takes a picture of them on their cell phone and doesn't edit it. Or a picture from that cell phone, and they'll look a certain color, and then you'll see a picture taken by someone who runs a fan account for them and edits the photos, and they'll like wash them out completely. And you'll be like, you'll put the photos together and go, oh, these are taken on the same day, and in one they look normal, and in the other they look like a ghost, you know? So a lot of the time it's the editing and not so much the person actually looks like that. Like they didn't actually remove all their melanin, you know what I mean? Yeah, the states went the opposite direction with spray on tans, yeah. Yeah. It's crazy, man. But I get it. People have a wide range. People have a wide range. I know people that, you know, they've always been dark. They look super dark. That's just how they are. But then if they, like, lift up their pant leg and pull their sock down a little bit, they're pale as a ghost. And they're like, this is me if I didn't touch the sun, you know? Like people have very, very wide ranges, you know? But, so sometimes it's literally just the person staying out of the sun for a couple years because their company told them to. Right? That's just how it is. Depends on the person. Depends on the person. Especially if you're of European descent, depends where you're from. Okay, if you're not northern, you're not western, and you're maybe a little more Mediterranean, usually those people have a range of ghostly to so dark people mistake them for other races, you know, like straight up. That's a lot of folks that are Mediterranean have this range that's very wide, and it's just natural. It's just them going in the sun a little bit versus going out of the sun a little bit, you know? So it just depends on the person. It really does. When you did swim team, you had white marks where your swimsuit was. Yeah. You don't recognize your own range like that typically because everything changes gradually, right? Very, very gradually. But then it's not until you see a tan line like that you realize. If you're super pale, there's a limit to how tan you can get. Not necessarily. It depends on the person. And it's not how tan, it's also what undertones you have. Certain people have certain undertones that when they tan, they will end up looking a bit darker just because of the type of coloration they have. So people are more olive greenish. Some people have more of a red undertone. Some people have more of a yellow undertone. Blah blah blah. So when they tan, it comes out looking different. Like the end result is just a different shade of color. The hue is a little different. So I don't know. There's a lot of difference in a lot of people. You just can't tan. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. There's certain people that just straight up like can't. Not at all. A lot of my Scandinavian friends or folks that are like British or Irish or you know anything up that way, they cannot tan. A lot of them. Some can, some need to get a couple burns before they tan, but a lot of them just can't tan at all. That's funny. It's funny how different it is. You can at all. Yeah, some people just burn over and over. And then some people, they get 2 or 3 good burns in, and after they burn, suddenly their skin's like, oh, that's right, and it remembers how to produce melanin, and then it just does it. So it's almost like warming themselves back up into it. I don't know. Seeing different tans on a person reminds you of Neapolitan ice cream. Yeah, when they have tan lines, so they have like one spot where they're pale because they never got a tan. They have another spot where they're a bit darker because they got that tan, and then they have another spot where they're burnt because they just burned, and they're like the 3 stripes. Oh, it's always funny. Always funny. Oh, you're a redhead? Yeah, most of my friends that are redheads have that kind of difficulty with the sun where the sun touches them once and they're dying. They just crisp up immediately. The men's side of your dad's family flips from tans to lighter skin tones, skips generation because your lighter little brother's much darker. Yeah, I do notice that some of my friends have families that are really mixed, and they'll have like one sibling that got certain genes and cannot tan, and another sibling that got other genes and can tan, right? And they look wildly different, and it makes people think that they're not related, but they're literally like brothers, sisters, you know? The luck of the draw, man. It's whatever genes you rolled, that's what you get. You tan, Sister Burns. Yep. People in my family, many of them get I mean, it's a wide range, but many of them get completely judged to be the wrong race entirely. A lot. Depends on the family member, but sometimes they just think there's something entirely else, and we're like, no, it's just they're just a bit tanned. Just a bit. Just a little. You had a friend who was allergic to the sun or something? They would die by going outside, so they had a special outfit. Yeah, mine never used to be so bad, but I developed more as I got older, more and more of an allergy to the sun. And now I'll still go and touch the sun and like be okay, but there's a threshold. There's a time limit. So if I want to go outside a lot and be very tanned, I can absolutely do that, but I have to limit it daily, because if I sit out there in one session for a certain amount of time, by the time I start, it takes me a lot of time to start burning. But if I start burning, I get to that point, instead of just getting a sunburn, I just like immediately get sun poisoning now. Or something that looks like sun poisoning. I get sun poisoning plus an allergic reaction to it. So I just can't. I have to be careful with it. I will like tan before I burn. I'll be fine, you know. But like if I stayed out that long, I just get I get wrecked, dude. I get wrecked. And it's my grandmother had it, so it's definitely genetic. She would start swelling. So her skin would start having this allergic reaction, and then all of her tissues in the area would just start swelling, and like she would just, if you've ever seen someone with like really bad poison ivy to the point where it's not just a skin rash, like they're getting that puffy swelling all over the place, it's kind of like that she would get. Me, I get these red spots, splotches, and if you look, you might think that it was a start of a sunburn, but I can tell by it being splotchy instead of like even that it is the rash starting. And I just get like it almost, it looks like hives. And then it also, if I let it get bad enough, there are also these small hard bumps that I'll get all over, and if I touch them, if I scratch it slightly, instead of it feeling like a little itchy, like a hive or something, it is searing pain. It is like one of the weirdest, it's not actually hives, it just looks like it a little bit, but those tiny, like, hard bumps, if I touch it at all, it feels like the same pain as if you have a really, really, really bad sunburn and you scratch it a little. It's like that, but just concentrated to where that bump is. I don't know. It's a very weird reaction. A little, it feels and looks like shingles a bit. And I start to just feel really sick. Like, I just start to feel like I'm gonna throw up. I start feeling like I gotta pass out, you know. But I have to get cooked before I get to that point. But if I stop before that point and just do that daily, I'll get tan real fast. I'll get dark. So you get hives if you don't take allergy pills daily. Oof. Yeah. Mine, it's gotten more sensitive over time, but I'm good at knowing, like, the signs before it starts happening and what I need to do. And sunscreen does not help it. That's the thing, too, is, like, sunscreen, what I'm allergic to in sunlight is not the stuff that sunscreen blocks. So that doesn't help me. That does not help me. So I have to, I guess it's just different wavelengths that it doesn't really worry about. I don't know. But either way, sunscreen keeps it at bay slightly. Like, it barely changes it. And I have to just straight up not be in the sun by that point. And I used to go out all the time. That's part of why I hike less. I do fewer, like, long ones, or if I do, I wait for a day that's very cloudy or something like that. Or if I do, then I'll just wear certain types of clothing, a big hat, things like that, so I'm physically covered instead of just, like, putting sunscreen on and thinking that'll work, you know? Yeah, huge hat. Oh, you have eczema? When I was younger, I had really bad eczema. Really bad. And I stopped probably in my teens. I stopped having issues with that at some point. But yeah, I used to get it really bad on the insides of my joints. That's where I got it, which was the worst. The worst. You feel like you have the flu, it sucks. Yeah, you feel like I would get those body aches and things. It's a lot. Sun itself doesn't hurt you. The heat, on the other hand. Yeah, I'm also a big baby in the heat. Like, that's just a me thing. Like, there's no illness related thing or allergy related thing there. I just don't like the heat. So, no thanks. I stay out of it, dude. I'm good. Say 20 seconds in the California sunshine is too much these days. Yeah, so I've lived around, like, everywhere for work, especially. There was a period of time, there were multiple periods of time, but there was a period of time I lived very far south. I had to. I just didn't go outside. Right? The sun, you don't realize that the angle of the sun and the closeness to the sun really affects you. So when I was in, like, the deep, deep south, it was fucking terrible for me. It was terrible. Hi, Batty. You're allergic too? Yeah, I was mentioning I am. I developed it as I got older. When I was younger, I think I still had it. It just took a lot longer for me to have that reaction, that issue. But nowadays it's quicker. I can still go out and I can still do things, and I'm not going to stop having the hobbies that I have, you know? So if I want to go hiking, I will do it. I'll just try to do it on a cloudy day. Or I'll wear certain types of protective clothing that just straight up cover me from the sun. So yes, and I'm brown skin. Yeah, that's the thing too. Like, no matter how much melanin you have, it does not change a damn thing. I was saying I have a wide range. I have a wide range of being able to be tan or not. So, like, for me, that never mattered. I could be as tan as I fucking wanted, and it would still take the same amount of time for me to start having an allergic reaction to the sun. There was a point in time where I was like, oh, you know what? Maybe if I get tan, then I'll have an easier time with this, right? I could just go get a little cooked, and then you know, I'll have an easier time in general. I won't really get affected by it. Nope, didn't change a damn thing. I was so upset. I was like, are you kidding me? You're telling me it has nothing to do with this? Zero. Zero. You're in Florida now? Ugh. Ugh. Yeah, the sun is just... The thing with Florida is the sun is bad, right? You're close to being very far south. As close as you can get in the US, basically, right? Either tip of Florida or bottom of Texas. So you're very much close to the sun. But it's humid. It's humid down there. And you feel like it's that same feeling as when you walk into an indoor swimming pool, the room, you get in there and the chlorine hits you. It's hot, it's damp, and it's just gross. If it's a little warm in there, it's just gross. It's the same feeling in Florida. The Florida air is like indoor pool air, which is less chlorine smell. Just kind of nasty. Kind of nasty. Good for your skin, though. Yeah, but just live in the Northeast. It's still humid along the coast. It's just not gross. It still gets hot. It still gets hot in the summer. Like, we have a full 4 seasons in the Northeast. But it's not that bad. It's not Florida bad. How are you liking the cold snap? I love it. I love it. I love the cold. I love snow. I love being in the middle of the city and getting sleet everywhere, and it's disgusting and dirty and from the rooftops, and you should not open your mouth and eat it because you know it's just covered in whatever the fuck just came off that roof next to you. Ugh. I love it. Genuinely, I love the snow. Just don't eat it in the city, okay, please. Yesterday I saw some fucking tourist, okay? Fucking tourist. I'm walking on the street, and there's some fucking tourist and goes, "Oh, it's snowy in New York City." And they think that's cute, so they look up and they open their mouth. And like yesterday, it was like very, very like snowy, sleet, you know, all of that. And I was like, oh no. Now, I didn't say shit because I don't care. You're a tourist. Get sick. Never come back, you know? That's me. I like my place to be less populated. It's mine, you know? It's okay. But someone else did. Someone else was like, do not do that. This lady was like, what are you doing? Do not open your mouth. And she's like, why not? She was like, it's disgusting. It's coming from the roof. And she pointed out, it's coming from the roof. It was, just the way she said it was funny. I like my place to be less populated. You're in New York City. Okay, let me caveat. I like it to be less populated by people that aren't from there, is what I should have said. That's the rest of that sentence. That's the rest of that sentence. There were so many just fucking tourists going, oh my god, snowy New York. And I'm like, go home. And they all walk so slow. Oh, I hate it. Because like everyone already walks a little slower when it's snowing out, depending on how much is on the ground. Because you have to be careful. And then there's so many of them on the sidewalk walking so fucking slow. And they stop. Yeah, I'm gonna take a picture. And they won't even, it's not even like we're in fucking Midtown. We're in the middle of like nowhere comparison. And they're still like walking around like, I'm gonna take a picture next to a street sign because it looks so New York. I'm like, stop it. Stop. Drives me crazy. I hate it. I hate it so much. I want to take a picture with this trash can because it's like a New York trash can. Oh my god, is that the sewer grate? I'm going to take a picture with like the New York sewer grate. People literally stopping to take pictures of piles of garbage going, oh my god, it's like there's so much garbage everywhere. It's like such a New York thing. That's so crazy. Look at all this. I've never seen so much garbage in my life. And I'm like, yeah, because there are no alleyways in certain areas. And it's going to get picked up soon. Keep moving. Like, Jesus Christ. Oh. You live in Queens? One of your favorite things to do out with friends is act like an obnoxious tourist. Yeah, you go see The Lion King on Broadway and then eat at, like, Restaurant Row where it's all scam foods. Yep. Go eat on like 46th Street or some shit. It's so stupid. Ugh. I prefer to see cats. Times Square, Olive Garden. It's so funny because there's like, you think there's so much food there, but that's where all the tourists go, like Midtown. And tourists are, okay, tourists from out of New York City and who especially are not from other major city centers. They're not from LA, they're not from Chicago, right? Maybe they're from another city, but it's a smaller city. Those people are not used to going out to local restaurants as much as they prefer to rely on chains. That is just the American way outside of certain cities in general. So they'll be sitting in Times Square and they'll be like, oh my God, Bubba Gump shrimp. We should go eat at Bubba Gump shrimp. I heard there's great seafood in New York. They'll go fucking eat a fucking Bubba Gump shrimp. Oh my God, I can't do it. Oh, you know, there's a fucking Margaritaville. And people will be like, oh my God, let's go to New York and stay at Margaritaville. Are you kidding me? You're in this city where you could have anything. You could stay anywhere and you want to stay at fucking Margaritaville. I can't. They shouldn't even be traveling to that city. They should just go to the middle of nowhere where there's also Margaritaville. Margaritaville fucks. I'm not even saying it's bad. I'm saying, why would you go to the one in New York City? It's the same idea as going to New York City McDonald's. Like why? You should go there and then have something unique to that place. I don't know, dude. I don't know. It's just, it's crazy. It's crazy. Cheeseburger paradise in Virginia Beach. I know. And I would always travel for work trips and things. And my thing when I'm traveling is try to eat something that I can only get there or is only good there, right? I would try so hard to always do that. And then I would have these coworkers that were like not people from cities, you know. They would be meeting in the same place and they'd be like, "Yeah, I'm hungry. Let's go to Subway." And I'd be like, "Are you fucking kidding me? Like what is your problem? What is wrong with you people?" I don't know. It's so stupid. And one time we were in where were we? Oh, South Carolina. I had to go to a meeting in Columbia, South Carolina. Okay, really cute city, low population for a city. It's like nobody there, but a cute city. There were certain places to eat that were really good. Really good. And I'm looking at all these options and I'm like, "Oh man, let's go this restaurant, that restaurant. All these places look cute." And then one guy was like he was like, I don't know. I just want to eat something normal like a sandwich. And I was like, okay, well, there are some places that make like insane sandwiches here. Like let's look. And we're all sitting there looking through the food options and this dude just kept trying to go to Subway. He wanted to go to Subway so bad. Why the fuck? You could go to Subway anywhere. It's a chain all over the US. You're from the US. Just go to, like, I guess he needed to eat fresh. I need my $5 footlong. I gotta look like that guy. It was just, I don't know, dude. Yeah, that sugary ass bread. Their bread is so sweet. Ugh. Yeah, I don't know, dude. We ate somewhere else and it was so, where did we even eat? This was years ago. I wonder if that restaurant's still there. Let me see if I can find it. Hold on. I'm gonna try to find the restaurant we ate at. I'll recognize it if I see it. Because we were like right in the middle of the city. Oh, you know, I even suggested, I was like, look, if you're not from like the South, or you've never lived in the South, and you want to eat something that's like fast foody, I guess, but you want something that's maybe a little more unique to the area, kind of, let's go to Cookout. Just go to fucking Cookout, get a giant cheer wine and get the fucking platter, you know, and go. Like it's at least unique to the area, right? Like I've been there so many times whenever I've had to travel down for like a work thing or something like that. So I was like, at least like, you know, you don't get it outside of the area, right? Yeah, Biscuitville. Or if you just haven't been to the South at all, like go try Bojangles because you've only ever eaten Popeyes, right? It's not like that incredible, but it's at least unique to the area, right? But dude wanted fucking Subway. I was just in disbelief. Oh, it was so stupid. So stupid. Oh, you know where we went? We went to a few places, but one place I liked, there was just a little bar, a cocktail bar called Bourbon. It looks like they're still open. The place is just called Bourbon, of course. It's right in the middle of the city. It's right near they're like government buildings. And it was just fucking good. It's just fucking good, man. That place kind of fucked. Kind of fucked. It was nice. Bojangles. Let me get my bow rounds. And then they're like, we gotta put the bow rounds in the fryer. It's gonna take an extra 5 minutes. You go, that's okay. I'll wait for my bow rounds. And then they tell you to pull up on the side instead of waiting in the line because it's gonna take 5 minutes and they bring it out to you. Anyone know that exact experience of going to going to Bojangles and ordering bow rounds? Oh my god. I lived in the South in a couple different spots for a bit for work related things, and I'd always be like, can I get those bow rounds? And every fucking time they'd be like, we gotta put them in the fryer. We don't just make them like all the time like the fries, so it's gonna take 5 minutes. If you don't mind pulling ahead pan and then pulling into the spot. And I would always do that. It was good, man. It was good. You miss a good chicken biscuit? Yeah. I liked being in the South. I just didn't like being in the South overall, comparatively. Compared to being in, like, the Northeast, you know? It's like. You get the Cajun filet biscuits. Ooh. South sucks ass, says I'm just Texas. Yeah, I think, there are certain things that they have that are great. Certain things. And then the thing is, I'm a little spoiled because I'm from a city where we have everything. And people will be like, oh, you can't get good Texas barbecue up there. You can't. Yes, you can. Okay? Because in New York City, there's a restaurant for everything. Someone has moved from somewhere to there to bring that food to the city. Okay? You can get everything there. All right? I can even get really specific kinds of Carolina barbecue that I want with certain types of sauces. I can get Nashville barbecue, whatever I want. I can get all these different things in New York City because people move from the South to there to open their restaurants. And so, like, it's really good. And I've said, I've lived in these places too. So I've been there and eaten that stuff, like, constantly for stretches of time, you know? And it's still good. It's still good. So, you know, I'm all right. I'm all right up there, you know? Can you get Waffle House, though? Why would you ever want to get Waffle House when you have all these good breakfast shops and delis, though? You can get all the same food items. We have diners, which are basically way better than Waffle House and offer a lot of the same things. You have diners that specialize in Southern food as well, and soul food. So anything that you get at Waffle House that you might not be able to get at other diners, there will be a diner that gives you that. You know what I'm saying? Why? And it's cheap as hell. It's cheap as hell going to like a random ass diner. Just don't go to one in fucking Midtown, okay? Just don't do it. Nope. Ooh, okay, you're not from the US. One of the things you genuinely want to try in the US is apple pie. The hype everyone talks about for fall season for food is really, like, sounds like you want to crave it. Yeah. Dude, oh, I love apple pie. I love apple pie. I'm usually not a big sweets person, but I like pies that are like fruit based and things like that. And apple pie is easy to not make too sweet if you make it yourself. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. It's so good. I like apples, I like pears, things like that. So I'll make it's not the same, but a tart tatin. I'll make that sort of thing, but I'll do a pear tart. Oh my god. It's So good. Waffle House is all about the atmosphere. You gotta feel like you're gonna get drop kicked at any moment. Okay, and when I go to my favorite diner in the hood that cooks soul food, I feel like I might get drop kicked at any moment too. And you know what? It's not unique to the South. People act like Waffle House is dangerous, okay? But I got fucking Jimmy outside the window of my favorite diner, okay? And Jimmy sees things in the air that no one sees. And if you lock eyes with him, the thing he thought he was seeing is now you, and he will try to kill you, all right? So, you know, it's not unique to Southern Waffle House, okay? I'm just saying, like... They act like Waffle House is special, and I'm like, you don't know about Jimmy. And hey, we got this certain type of law here that Jimmy will get taken in for causing a crime, and then they'll be like, he's nice though, and they'll let him go, so he's back on the street in 2 minutes, okay? Jimmy could punch you, and then he'll be back out there the next day. All right, so I'm just saying, you know? Yeah, they drop him off 3 blocks away. Exactly. Jimmy will be back. He'll be back. That's just how it is, man. Everyone shits on Jimmy. Jimmy's like worth 5 Waffle Houses. you know what I'm talking about too. You can picture him. You know what's going down with Jimmy. It's crazy, man. He's always there. He's always there. The next day, Jimmy's nice to you until the next delusion. Oh, it's true. It's true. So sometimes you give Jimmy food. Sometimes you do. And then the next day, he'll, like, beat you up. And then you see him the next day again, and he's like, hey, nice weather. And you're like, hey, Jimmy. Hey. That's just how it goes, man. There's a lot of him. And people will be like, oh, Waffle House is so crazy at 3 a.m. Okay. I've been to Waffle House at 3 a.m. All right? And to be honest, the worst thing you've got is you got someone who's angry and maybe a bit drunk. And then you got a bunch of people on things that just make them fall asleep. You got, like, people on the fentanyl and shit. They're not really doing shit, okay? They're just leaning against a wall half the time. I'm not really concerned about them. I'm concerned about Jimmy, who sees things. Okay? Jimmy's talking a lot. He's talking to himself, right? That's the one you gotta be worried about. Just saying. You ever been to Five Guys? Of course. Of course. Five Guys is one of those ones that, like... I don't like fast food. For the most part. I'm not like a McDonald's Andy. But sometimes I'll do Five Guys and I'll fuck it up. I'll do it. I think it's good. I think it is overpriced. But what I do like is you'll order fries. They'll put the cup that they put the fries in the bag. And then instead of taking enough fries to fill the cup and putting it in there, they just throw enough fries to fill the whole damn bag in there. And maybe some of them go and land in the cup. That's just how they do it. They take the whole set of fries that they put in the fryer and they go, bah, and they throw it right in that bag. And whatever lands in there, lands in there. And like, I'd say about 30% of the fries that they put in there fit in the cup, and the rest of it is just bag fries. And I think it's because the workers know that they have to charge a lot. That's just the corporate price, you know? So they're just like, yeah, I'm just gonna give you a lot of fries. I think that's nice of them. I think that's real nice. And free peanuts. It's true. It's true. I love it. Amount of grease is off the charts of Five Guys. Yeah, but I like grease, and I like butter, and I like fat. So for me, like, I don't see that as a bad thing. I don't really eat a lot of sugar. I don't tend to eat a lot of bread and carbs. I just eat a lot of meat and vegetables, like a lot. And so if I'm trying to gain weight, I tend to go for, like, high protein and fat. You know, within reason, obviously, but that's what I try to do. So, you know, I look at Five Guys and I'm like, yeah, that's just good. That's just fat. But I wouldn't eat something like that every day because, yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot. You have a buddy who can't go within a mile of a Five Guys because he's allergic to peanuts. Yeah, it's you can't even walk in that place if you're very allergic. Some people have the airborne allergy kind of thing going on, and it's not just being near the peanuts. It's the fact that people are sitting there and cracking them open with their hands, so there's like dust just flying up in the air. And then the peanut oil that they use to cook everything, right? It's just in the air, like so thick, so thick. And if they have exhaust fans pushing air out of the building, as all restaurants really do, out of their kitchens, it's just spewing like peanut vapor into the air. I have a friend too who's like deathly allergic, and she cannot be near one. She has to like really, really like leave the area. It's scary. Texas Roadhouse with the peanuts. I think I've been to a Texas Roadhouse one time when probably went on a trip or something, or maybe when I was living somewhere else. I don't know. I've been to one once and it was very like I did not like it. I was like, eh. It was better than an Applebee's though. It was better than that, but it was not that good. Yeah, the rolls were all right. Thing is, the rolls were pretty good, but they didn't make the rest of the thing worth it. You know, they were all right, but I don't know. Is it the one with the honey butter? Yeah, something like that. I don't know what they do besides be a slightly more southern Applebee's. And I'm good. I'm good. You know, I go to Chili's for the same price as McDonald's. Brother, I cannot stand, okay, fast food used to be that thing that when you were super broke and you were really hungry and it was really late, you'd go and order off the dollar menu and you'd be able to at least be full on $3, $2 even, right? That's what fast food was able to do for you, and you knew it was shit, but it was like very reliable. And that's why it grew so much. And now you get a meal from a place and it's the same price as if I go and eat quote unquote real food from a normal ass restaurant and do takeout. So like, what's happening? What's happening? You know, I know if you break it down, I know what's happening if we get really into it, but like it's rough. It's rough, dude. Why? And if anything, it's in a good way. It means people are maybe going to eat at home more and be more frugal and stop spending their money by eating out all the time. Maybe, but I don't know. Are they just going to eat more frozen meals and a lot of things that are quick to cook that aren't that good for them? I don't know. I don't know. Growing up, I never ate outside because you could make everything at home for cheaper. So, you know. But you know, if you're traveling or doing a thing, you know, you had that dollar menu if you needed it, right? The few times I was broke but out working really late, you know, I had that to rely on. But I don't know. It's crazy. From what I hear, there are plenty of places in the US where you don't have too much access to food to make it home. Well, I mean, everywhere has supermarkets. It's just that some people live in super rural areas where they have to drive very far for that. But that means, number one, they should plan better and have a lot of stuff stocked in their pantry. And number two, there aren't that many people that live in that rural of a condition. Most people live in normal-ass suburbs where they can get food from the store. The issue is, there are food deserts. There are some, but there aren't that many. People try to advertise food deserts like that's the problem to justify certain decisions in pricing on stuff food related. Just keep this in mind. People will sensationalize that on the news and they'll talk about food deserts over and over like there's a billion of them and like it affects more people than it does, to make it look like that's a problem that we should focus on more than the fact that certain prices are just going up. It's a bit of a red herring, okay? I'm not saying it doesn't exist. I'm just saying. Just keep that in mind. They're redirecting you a little, you know? And then you do this where you bring it up. You're like, but they exist. They do exist. They're not the main problem, though, okay? The fact of the matter is a lot of shit is just driving up in price no matter where you go. Are we sure people aren't just picky? Depends on where. Depends on where. Food deserts are when you have to go further than 10 minutes away for the Walmart. That's the thing, is they'll call it a food desert because it's not super close sometimes. The amount of that term has changed. Food desert used to be more like it used to be more like, ooh, a 30-minute drive to get to any store where you could buy food. Nowadays, yeah, it's like 10, 15 minutes. And I'm like, brother, that's like not that long. That's not that long when you live in a suburb and you want to go drive 15 minutes to get to a supermarket. That's not actually that bad. Like, why are we... Food desert? Are you kidding me? You have food. You're not living in a third world country where you literally have nothing and you have to go hunt for it. Like, they're acting like that's difficult. You know what I mean? They're like, oh, woe is me. I live in a food desert because they have to drive 15 minutes. You have it really great compared to a lot of other people in the world, actually. Like, I don't know. That just comes off as like a lot of complaining. Now, if it takes longer than that, it takes 30 minutes plus to get somewhere, then you can start like classifying as that. I'm like, okay, you can start like saying that, but dude, sometimes they're like, oof. Yeah, you drive an hour for grocery shopping, but you buy in bulk from Sam's, only go shopping every 2 weeks. Not that big of a deal. Exactly. I have plenty of friends that have moved out to the middle of nowhere because it's cheaper, and the trade-off, the caveat is that they have to drive farther to go grab food, but they just buy in bulk. They have sometimes an extra fridge or freezer that they throw in the garage or something, right, to keep stuff doing well. They make a lot of things from scratch. They have flour at home, whatever, so instead of buying fresh bread, they just have a bread machine, etc., right? Like, that's pretty normal. But it's not, I don't know. Some people, if you want to live somewhere out in the middle of nowhere and it's cheap or whatever, then yes, you have to usually drive farther. That's just like a part of that. You know what I mean? That's just a part of life out there. I don't know. I think a lot of people in the suburbs get told about this, and they get told about the quote-unquote food deserts, and it sounds so scary to them because every supermarket is like 5 minutes away from them. You know, and they're like, that sounds terrible. Oh, it's not really that bad. It's really not. You literally drove your buddy 10 minutes to get to a big shopping district with plenty of stuff. Some upstate people are just so lazy. Yeah, it's just, I don't know. They're talking about food dessert. Desserts, you're so right. I don't know, dude. A lot of places where you were, the food you can get is just like McDonald's. You need to drive farther than most of the carless people to get fresh or healthy food. Oh, for sure, yeah. If you're talking about that kind of one where like supermarkets are available, but fresh prepared food isn't really available, for sure. There's a lot of places like that where you live in a crossroads town, you live off fucking 95. I know a lot of areas in Pennsylvania are like that, actually. If you drive west from New York City and you just start heading through, was it 78? Is that the one? Which one am I thinking of? Where you go through Pennsylvania, there's a lot of towns like that, where you'll just be driving, and the only thing the town has is their little area where you pull off the major highway, and it has a gas station, and a Subway, and a McDonald's, and another gas station, and, you know, like just a few things like that. And then everything else is just kind of suburban/rural living. And they have to drive 15, 25 minutes to go and grab something that's actually from a supermarket. And that's it. And a lot of people do kind of live like that. And they just go and buy stuff from supermarkets and make stuff at home. They just don't have a culture of eating out that much. You know? They always say it's so much easier in the city, but it still took you 10 minutes to walk to get to the store. Yeah, that's the thing. I know. People will complain about it, and they'll be like, oh, it takes so long to drive, but it's so quick and you walk. No, it's not, because you're walking and you go slow. You live in a city, you want to walk to a grocery store. Depending on where you live, it's probably not that close. It's you know, it's perspective. But fresh made food is more available if you want to eat from a restaurant. So, you know, that's just how it goes. Food desert doesn't mean no food. Sometimes it just means everyone's eating TV dinners because there's no produce nearby. Yeah, I get that. Even then, while there are some of those, geographically, there will be wide swaths of area that are like that. But the population density in those areas is so low that not that high of a number of people are affected by that. if that makes sense. So if you look at a map and they're like, here are the food deserts, and they make all the food deserts red on the map, right? It's going to look like a huge swath of the US is like that. But it's not easy to get too much fresh produce. But then when you check the population in those areas, it's really low. It's really low. So yes, people are affected, but they're not, it's not that high of a count of people that's affected, right? But then when you talk about inflation and pricing and all these different things, they'll point to that and they'll be like, oh, this is such a problem. And I'll be like, it's not that it's not a problem. But I think we have bigger fish to fry. You know what I mean? Like, they always point at an issue that like 100,000 people have out of the bajillions of people we've got. And they'll be like, that's the problem. And I'm like, oh. Somehow I think we have other issues going on here, like McDonald's meals being $15 now, It's so weird that they didn't plop a McDonald's into an 800-hectare cornfield to solve food deserts. I know. There'll be a couple farming families just living on these huge swaths of land, and they'll be like, oh, what a food desert, these poor people. And I'm like, all 15 of them, That's how it is, man. They're not just food deserts, they're population deserts. Yeah. I don't know, man. Around the University of Chicago has historically been a true food desert because the university felt it was too bourgeois for something as crass as a grocery store. Yeah, there are weird cases like that are definitely interesting. But the thing is, if you're living around there, I'm going to assume most people, you can get in a car and go drive right out of the area and go find some damn food, right? Like, I'm sure it's not going to take you 45 minutes to get to the nearest food, right? No one's eating that corn. Yeah, that's the corn that they plant out there is like for animal feed, and you do not want to eat that one. You do not want that kind of corn. I don't know, man. I just think these things are always so much less black and white. You know what I mean? When you watch the news and they'll be like, it's a food desert. Everyone in this area doesn't have produce. And they point to a big splotch and they're like, everyone in this area. And they don't say how many people are in that area. And then you watch the news and you're like, oh my God, it's so terrible. And you freak the fuck out. And they're giving you like 2 data points. One is a map with a splotch on it. And 2 is no supermarket in this area. And that's like all the data you're given. You know what I mean? Yeah, everyone's dying all the time. And the thing is, like, some of these data points, yes, there will be truth to some of it, but it's not always a genuine cause for huge concern. Yeah, Dollar General will fix that right up. Don't you worry. South side of Chicago's gonna die. Yeah, dude. They get crazy like that. Is UW University of Washington? Which one? Because I know a few UWs. So it's too fancy for fast food or road, so all the students have to walk an hour if they want to eat outside cafeteria hours. I think college towns are the most fucked because the town itself of a college town will be abundant with food, but depending on how the campus is set up and how far it is from said college town, sometimes it's also depending on how transportation between the college and the college town is. Sometimes the students are actually fucked. And there's some that have cars that can get into town and eat food. And there's some who don't. So they're just stuck there eating shitty campus food and they're trapped. That fucking sucks. That sucks so bad. That's the part where I'm like, ooh. That stinks. Get those kids to pay for those meal plans. And they're so bad. They're so bad. Most colleges, the food is, oof. It's either straight up disgusting or it's just the same 2 things every day. And you can only go just so long before you start going crazy. Okay? Insane. University of Illinois campus, you hate it? There are many fields in one grocery store. Certain college towns are great. Some of them are so bad. I don't know. It's just rough. You had them walking distance when you lived on campus? Yeah, I never properly. You could say I semi did sometimes, but I never properly lived on a campus like that because that cost money. And instead, I paid money to travel very far to be able to go to a school that I wanted because it was slightly less expensive. Well, not slightly, it was actually quite a bit less expensive, but still. I was not about to be paying for dorming to eat shitty ass food. So I would just go and then laugh at all my friends that lived there and had to eat the campus food. And I was like, haha. They didn't really have to eat the campus food though. Like they could just go outside and go get other food. Like it was pretty available. It was pretty, you know, right there. And there was public transport everywhere. So really wasn't that bad. But they were broke college kids. So Lamau. Lamau, you know? Haha. Haha. Your college was in an actual city rather than being a college town. Yeah, it's so much better, dude. It's so much better. But it is more expensive if you have to live there, right? If you're not from there and you have to go live on campus, or you have to try and get some sort of apartment somewhere, that can be really, really difficult. Your campus food was really good. That's nice. Must be nice. Mine barely had a cafeteria because you could just walk outside and eat food. So it was like, no problem, dude. No fucking problem. There was food to eat, but, you know. Would you study? Stuff. Things. You said art school, downtown, lived on campus, AMA. Yikes. Yikes. Art school. Ooh. Ooh. No thanks. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Sounds terrible. Y'all went to college? Don't go to school. Become a streamer. Get it twisted. You will make it big. You just have to put time in and everyone will start to think you're funny eventually. It'll work. Get it twisted. Alright, let's open Minecraft. We gotta get in there. The tournament's gonna start happening and I gotta dope up my Pokemon. Right beforehand in the 11th hour. Because I didn't get to do it yesterday. Hey Ren, thank you for the 5 gifted subs. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. You have too much stuff you want to do with your life? Well, stop and pick one. You can only do one. Forever. Forever and ever and ever. Yes, Ryuko, if it was worth it. Ryuko is now a mod on twitch.tv. Alright. Don't go to art school, kids. Don't go to art school. Alright, let's go here. Meow. Meow. There we go. Yeah, don't laugh, Oshi. You're literally here with the badge. You're 2.5 years in. It's a little late to stop. That's called sunken cost fallacy. And it may be something to pay attention to. It may not be. Yeah, I already spent 2 years worth of bad money. Let me just spend 2 more. Or maybe the piece of paper is worth it. You just have to pivot what you're trying to do afterward, right? Specialize a little differently while you're in there. That's why I'm not a mod. I have a STEM degree, something, something, study for the money, something, something. Yeah. Yeah, pretty much. I mean, the TLDR is like every industry is pretty fucked nowadays. I know I give advice to like go into trades and things like that. But some of those are still fucked too. It depends on the area you're in a lot as well. So, you know, like, everything's fucked. Just do what makes you money, all right? Just open an OnlyFans, all right? It's time. I will not judge you if you sell your socks. I will not, and I promise that, okay? Never. I will never judge you if you sell your socks. Get your fucking bag, okay? And when people are like, oh, you gotta do something you're in love with, whatever. No, you do something that makes you money so you don't worry. And then you spend your time outside of working doing stuff you like. Boom. Okay? And if you have something that can be both for you, that's great. That's great. Do that. But if that's not available to you, then the next option shouldn't be something I love that makes me broke and makes me hate my life. It should be something that makes me money so I can try to enjoy my life outside of that. Okay? That should be a second priority, always. Anyway, some of the mods are, yes, selling socks. And if you guys are interested in some lightly used or perhaps heavily used, depending on price, socks, you just have to hit them up. You just have to let them know, all right?